We have $2 million worth of bills on the table with about $600,000+ worth of net profit over the next 6 months. But we're going to start today, and it all starts with the submittal of the plans for plan review to get permits. And we're about to get lending on Alex's first bill and his project here by the 15th of December of 2025 if you're watching this before or after. If you're watching this later, put hashtag repeat down in the comment section. But right now, we are building houses, and we're going to get this ready for plan review and lending. This is the first time that you guys go in and you guys go to a lender. Once you get your set of blueprints, this is the time that we go to the lender. People want to go to the lender before they have a project. Once you go to the lender and you have all of this set out for them, that, ladies and gentlemen, will qualify you for lending, permits, a build, and profitability. It's packaging day. So you can do this electronically, or you can do this old school style. I'm old school style. We've always done all our sets, except for when we do in Washington State. I have Ramez down there, so Ramez does everything electronic. I'm a tech guy. I'm not a tech guy. I'm a construction guy. Although we have a tech company and social media company, I'm a construction guy, business guy. But all systems and processes that we implement, purchase, and buy, we let other people run for us, and then I just execute. This is old school style. We still staple and print 100% of our prints for residential single family, and I still do page turnings on my large commercial projects. You guys will see those big, massive sets of prints. It's too hard for me on an iPad to look at it. Plus, I can take notes that are memorable, and you could still do that on your iPad where you take notes, but you got to e-file all that stuff, and it's just easier for me to have a hard set of plans in the back of my truck that I can go in, reference, write down stuff. I have notes. I can go back and cross-reference stuff, changes and modifications and everything that we're doing. So these ones are actually going to the city, though. We do 2 of each. We get 2 full sets stamped. One set will end up staying with the city and municipality, and the other set will come with us. It'll be our job site set, and they'll be the builder set that we'll utilize throughout the entire construction of the house. They're the ones that we put in our big PVC pipe and we'll leave on site for inspectors to be able to open, review, utilize, and make sure that the engineering, the architecture, and all of the grading and drainage, everything is done as supposed to be per the engineer and your trade professionals. Now, so let's just really run through this, and then we'll cut it up, piece up the real stuff. Okay, so first, we got our LLC docs. We're waiting for our EIN number for Alex build. These are Alex. These are his real life LLC docs. He has all of his stuff all set up. He has his table of content. Real simple. We repurposed a set of operating agreements for Alec on this one that we took, and that way the attorneys had already reviewed this prior. Alec went in, reviewed it, modified it, and then just repurposed it. But his project is on number 8, Calle Verde, so he named it Calle Verde 8 LLC. And so it has all your formation, the purpose and definitions of the LLC, what that LLC is going to do. It has the capital contributions, profits, losses, and distributions. All the stuff that I go through, indemnifications, power and duties of members, and who the members are. It has all of the duties, everything that an operating agreement should have. So if you ever go to one of our Build Wealth workshops, one of the biggest things that we'll do in front of everybody is we will actually build out the set of operating agreements utilizing AI in probably about 15 minutes. And you get a full set of operating agreements. This will allow Alec to do 2 things. One, go to the bank and open up a bank account. But secondly, this will allow him to get a construction loan on the actual build. Instead of doing it in his personal name, it'll be secured through the business, helping him build business lines of credit. But not only help him build business lines of credit, also for liability purposes, for asset protection, so that if anything ever happens that shouldn't happen, he's in a position to be able to go in and secure his project and his property in a fashion where he doesn't affect his personal residence, his houses, his cars, his kids, his family, his life, or any other investment, because it's all under the LLC. So it's all asset protection as well. Okay, so multiple reasons to be able to set this up. And we got it all packaged. The package is not fully complete yet, but it will be over the next couple days. And we're about 90% there, waiting for employer identification numbers and a couple other SEC docs that should be approved here by Monday. By the same time that we have this ready to go into the lender and for permits, all of this should be ready to go as well. And simultaneously, we'll go in and apply both for the loan and go in and apply for permits. Okay, so we got the full set of prints. We got our application. You need 2 sets of these. I'll get these filled out here in a little bit. So you'll have to register your business in whatever municipality that you're doing business in. I've never done business in this municipality. One of the things that I told Alec, I said, hey, if you find a lot in a given area, and I told him the areas that I would be willing to build in because of the affluency in those areas, which is the first step of any business model, is you don't just go look for land anywhere. You look for land in an area that supports profitability. Once you go in and you look, if you find an area that supports profitability, then you look for land. And so it was easy for Alec to be able to go in, find, guy, you found probably about 8 or 9 lots, right? Only 2 of them worked out, in that moment. And there's a lot more, guys. There's no shortage of land. And so 2 of them that worked out to the best negotiated value that we could find. And it took us, 2 weeks? If that. 2 weeks because of me. I had to go in and look at them, and the only time I had to look at them was on a Saturday or Sunday. And so I went in and I vetted his comps. We went through that one weekend, went and looked at some lots. Then the next weekend, put in offers on the next one. And we tied up one lot in the first weekend and tied up the second one the second weekend. And so now we're able to go in. Now, when we go in and do that, we have 2 builds that are going on here. So understand that there's a build that Alec is taking on. There's a build that I'm taking on. He got his LLC set up, but that LLC has to be set up as a registered business in the municipality that you're doing business in. So we have to fill out, 1, a business application for the business. And then 2, we have to fill out the building and zoning application for your actual sets of permits. So there's 2 applications that 99.9% of you guys will have to fill out, because you do have to register your business with that municipality in addition to the building permits themselves. Okay, so we got those. Those will get filled out. Those are mine. Okay, now we have our New Mexico Office of Engineers. So these are our well permits right here. Both lots have wells on them. So we got our well permits right here. Okay, I'm going to attach those at the end. And then we got our septic permits. These ones I'm going to attach in the beginning. You got your septic permits? Okay, so you need 2 of everything in order to do a third set, but need to keep it home. So I always do 3 prints, okay? And the reason why is, what if they lose your prints? I've never done that in all the years I've been doing that, but I always get a third set, and the third set is me for home. I always keep a full set at home, knowing that I have a fully packaged, permitted set at home that I'll always keep. So I always make sure that I have an extra one. Okay, now we're going to need our drainage calculations, our drainage plan. I usually print the full set, and I have a big full set, but we're going to need these ones.
Can you explain why you need the 2?
The 2 sets of prints?
Yeah, the 2 sets.
Yeah, I explained it. So we're going to have 2 sets of prints, guys. They both go through plan review, okay? So the municipality will always require 2 sets of submittals if you're doing hard sets of prints. If you're doing electronic submittals, you only have to submit them one time, because obviously if they're electronic, you can easily save 2 sets. And so they will make the comments. They'll share a file, and that file is shareable. So if you do an electronic set of prints, the electronic set of prints, because they are shareable, you only need to submit one time. But if you're doing them old school style and you're doing them on paper, you do have to submit 2 sets, because what happens is they're going to plan review and stamp 2 different sets of drawings. They're going to stamp one that they keep in their office. These get recorded whichever municipality you're with the state engineer's office, state construction industries, the municipality, the county, the city, whoever you're getting your permits through. This one set will stay in there, stamped and certified. The second set will come back to you stamped and certified as well. These are your in-field permit set. Okay, so these ones will come back to you. These are the ones that we put in the big PVC pipe that we leave on site. That way the inspector has the ability to come in and review the plans on site without having to carry 5,000 plans around with him as he goes around inspecting jobs every day, every week. And so those ones stay on site, and they're stamped and they're certified by the municipality. Okay, so when we go in, I'll put everything together, and I staple everything twice, staple everything one time, and I'll over communicate with these guys so that way we don't have any problems. So I'm going to have one set here. Okay, so we got that. Now, here's our truss prices. That estimate got locked in there with the trusses. Okay, here's our truss engineering. Do you have all your truss engineering on this one? That's your window package. You don't need that for permits. Okay. Cool. We got our truss engineering, about $21,000 in trusses. Need both of them.
Okay, this goes on top?
Yeah, these just go on top. So look, I already have like all these put together right here. Okay. And then I got my grading and drainage plan. That's going to go with this set of prints right here. And you got to put a set with each one. Okay. So I'm going to land up stapling these all together here in a second. But I'll do is I'll have this one goes on top. So you don't have to be too smart to build houses. This staple is right in the middle so you can't fucking see anything. Okay. So we got our structural engineer. We don't need the invoice, so we'll hang on to the invoice. Okay, structural engineering. Just need a. It's already stamped it here. You got your stamp set in there. So you got my third one. This one. Let's make sure that we have is the engineering. Okay, so let me do a page turner real quick. That might have been my second set. You said stamp right there. That's what we're looking for. We need a stamp of approval. Okay, so we have the structural engineering, the stamp set. So you'll have your architectural set. And you got to remember that when you're paying for like your grading and drainage plan, they're going to take this exact same set of drawings with your topography on it, and then they're going to do what's called an overlay. And the civil engineer, it may look exactly like this set. You just have to make sure that you upload both, because if you don't have both, you're not going to get approved. You need your architectural set and you need your engineered set that's stamped. Our engineered set that's stamped is the smaller one right here that we have. It's stamped right down here. I have a full-size set of these ones that I'm actually going to put in here instead of just using this tiny one. I'm going to put the tiny one in here anyways, just in case I don't have the large set printed. I can get them submitted. They may say, hey, can you get us a larger set? No problem. I'll bring them in when I pick up my other sets. They'll attach it to them. They'll stamp them, and it doesn't hold up the process of plan review. So I have them in there. It's just on an 8x11 right now. You can barely read it. So we want to make sure we get a transparent set. Now, structural engineering, you know, to make sure you have your sign set in here. The structural engineer, you have to remember, they have to do an analysis, okay? And this analysis has to be in the actual engineering as well. Without this structural engineering analysis, they will not approve it. So you do have to make sure that structural analysis is set in the overall plans, okay? I'll typically just stagger them, make it easy for them to be able to sit down and see everything that's there. I don't want to cover them completely, because if I cover them completely, what ends up happening when I go over and cover them completely is that they never see them. And then you have to go in and say, hey, well, they're here. And they're not that smart. They won't go through them page by page, especially when you have 50 pages on one document. They won't go through them. But if you stagger them like this, they'll find them. So typically, I'll just stagger them like this. And I've just learned this over the course of time. So that way, I have all my stuff dialed in. Now, let's do our energy compliance check. You have 2 energy compliance checks. So energy compliance. Alec either staples in the middle of the paper or has one side of the staple hanging off the side of the paper. He's a staple engineer. Professional. He goes back to his class reunion. What do you do for a living? I'm a staple engineer. Okay, that one we're closing on. So now I have my warranty deed. I paid cash for my lot. So I just wrote a check for my lot, and mine's ready to go. Alec is in the stages right now of waiting for lending. All he's waiting for now, but his loan has actually been approved based on the receiving of the actual appraisal. Now, we've already done our comps, so we already know, we're 100% positive that the appraisal won't be an issue, because we went out and vetted our comps thoroughly, and we underwrote this build very conservatively. We went in and did an $800,000 underwrite for the resale value, where really the underwriting on this build is $1 million. This house will get listed for $999,000, $1 million, and the comps support that. But because there's not a lot of spec building going on of new construction, we had to take some of the comps of older and like properties, and those older and like properties were selling for between $800,000 and $900,000. So we underwrote it extremely conservatively at an $800,000 underwriting, still showing immense profitability and the ability to be able to come in and get our lending based on real market, real world comps. And he'll be able to have the bank actually pay for the land on behalf of it at closing. We'll document that for you guys when we go in for closing as well. But his deed isn't in yet. So once he gets the deed, he'll staple that in on his plans as well. Okay, so now my deed, go on here. They want to make sure you're not building on somebody's lot that you do not own, right? They want to make sure you own the lot. And for those of you guys watching saying, well, how do I buy the lot? You have to follow the process of entitlement. The process of entitlement is very important, because once you follow the process of entitlement, you go through all of this, you'll do a simultaneous close on the land, the loan, everything, and then you'll get your deed, staple it, and that'll be the day that you actually go in. And I'd submit without the deed on it. In fact, we may use the pre-existing deed that's on there, just so when they do a page turning on it, they'll get to the deed that's actually there. And this one doesn't have Alec on here as the owner yet. This is the deed of the current owner, but we'll put that in there because all they're going to do is the plan checker will just check boxes. They're not going to review it. They're not reviewing it there, but the deed will be in there. And then what will end up happening is they'll go through the entire plan review process. And this is very important that you pay attention to this, because most people will sit back and they'll wait. And so if you wait to close on the loan, and your plan review takes 3 months, now you have 3 months of your loan just sitting there stagnant. So instead of doing that, we're barely going in for the appraisal. We are set to close on this land in a couple weeks from now. But in spite of that, we're going to go in, we're going to use the old deed. We're going to put it in here. We know that it's not the right deed. We know we're going to get pushback on it, but who cares? Because at the very least, now we go in, we get our plans reviewed. And by the time they come in and they notice and recognize that that deed is the prior owner's, we'll have the original deed because we will have closed on the actual loan, and our plans will already be halfway through plan review, saving us weeks, if not months of time in the plan review process. So I told Alec, just print the existing deed, let them call it. Sometimes they won't even call it out. They'll approve them. They want to make sure you own the lot, but they'll miss this because they're so involved doing everything else. But at the end of the day, you're smart enough to understand that you don't build on a lot you don't own. You better own it contractually, or you better own it physically. One or the other, okay? Now, this is our original topography, but we don't need this any longer. This was the original topography before we actually did the grading and drainage plan. So once upon a time, this was important for the engineer. But now that we have the engineer affirmation, we're dialed in and we're good to go. And then the other set needs to look exactly like this, Alex. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is like to put all these together, what I'll do is I'll get like a couple pages from this one and a couple pages from this one, and I'll staple it again, right? So that way they're together. Yeah, and then I'll get a couple pages from the back end of this one and a couple pages from the front end of this one. Line them up. I'll staple them together. Okay, so now when we go in, I'll package everything like this. I'll just roll everything up all together, make sure everything stays in alignment. Now, what I always do for reference is I always put the company name. So like these ones, and I'll always put the company phone number on there as well. And that way it's easy for them to go in and find us. Same thing with this other set. We'll do the same thing on the bottom set. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, do not go get lending and do not go get permits until you have a fully executed package of building prints, architecture and engineering, the entire process of entitlement completed. This will get you money right here. This will also get you permits, and this will set you up for success for long-term profitability. Now, to go in and take advantage of everything that we have here today, you have to understand the process of entitlements and building in order to get capital and money. There's a way to save money. There's a way to strategically position these builds for larger profitability. The biggest thing is position yourself to go in and set yourself strategically up to get lending power and building permits to go in and profit from buying land and building houses. Look, for more content exactly like this, to go through the entire process of entitlement, the entire process of ground up construction in both residential and multifamily, click and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you pound that thumbs up button, give us a little bit of love, and then comment down below what you're in need of to be able to go out, buy land, build houses. Let us know your questions. Give us a little bit of feedback on what you're in need of so we can help you straddle the gap of success in ground up construction. Let's buy land, let's build houses, and let's go ground up. And until next time, go out and compound your success.